Okay, I'm live again for the second or third time, I think. It's hard to remember really because I did try Twitch originally. So yeah, I have decided that I was getting whooped in my previous game far too often, so I'm gonna start again, basically. This time with the full character creation, custom one this time, rather than using one of the preset classes, just because they're so ridiculously underpowered to what I remember. I'm just going to share the stream now. Whoop, there we go. Let's see. Share link on Twitter. Make sure people know it's live. Okay. Woo, look at that. Probably should have put a hashtag in there, but I always forget. Okay, so rather than, well, one person in already, that's nice. Okay, so yeah, start new game this time. And I'll probably do the same province again, I think. Let's see, you got a choice of all of them, with the exception, I think, of the Imperial Province, because I guess in this game, the second of the Elder Scrolls series, they decided that the Imperial Province was just a mixture of all the others, so it didn't really offer a unique, what do you call it, race, I suppose. But obviously they changed that from Morrowind onwards. Okay, so I went with a Nord last time, and there was really nothing wrong with that. So with that bit, that was the class that was the weak link. So I'll probably stick with that just because it's going to be easy to basically make a similar character. And I know they've got resistance to cold. Yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Yeah, male again. Okay, so this time I'm going to go to, instead of all these others, I'm going to go to custom. And I'm going to try and remember how the hell this thing works after 20 years. Class name, well that's got me stumped already. What would it be? I'm going to do the classic sort of Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim build, which is just going to be someone who's a mixture of magic and combat. So maybe I can come back to that. Okay, so primary skills. There's a ton on here. Some of them are useless, some of them are useful. I like the idea of having critical strike quite high. I've never really had that, I don't think. That'd be really good to have the enemies just fall over. What else? I need at least one weapon skill. I usually go with long blade, so I might change the habit of a lifetime. And then probably some magic skill, but I've not decided which. I'm going to have a backup weapon skill in my major skills, because I know it's possible to start with a dagger, a very decent dagger. I'm going to pick that. And it kind of fits in that someone who's good with the sword probably would be reasonably well trained with a dagger. Okay, I'll keep the stats completely flat for the time being. I'm just going to go into special advantages and disadvantages, because there's some I definitely want. Let's see, I definitely want healing, rapid healing. Oh wait, which one's which? Regenerate health. What's the difference? Like the idea that you can just regain health in water, like having a nice warm relaxing bath is a cure-all for wounds. I really want it all the time, to be honest. So that's making it harder now to advance in level. So I'm going to probably put some disadvantages in as well. What else did I want? Spell absorption's a really good one. Again, want it all the time? No, that's getting ridiculous. I don't really know what... See, I'm not even sure what that adds, really. Immunities might be nice. Oh, increased major is an absolute you need that. Because I think by default, the amount of... what would you call it? Is it mana in this? I can't remember. Or magicka. You get your intelligence score in skill points, like 1 times your intelligence. And I think half of the magic classes are only really 1.5 or 1.75. So you're only really getting double the magic of a warrior or someone who doesn't really have anything to do with magic. So having, or maybe it's half, I'm not sure because that option's there. But yeah, 3 times the absolute max is so it's going to make me casting spells all the time, which is good. Okay, I'll leave the advantages there for a minute because I've just realised that it's now going to be 3 times more difficult to level up. So I need a weakness. I have heard that you can, if you have a weakness, you can kind of cheat the system in a way by having a weakness to something that your character already has immunity to, which seems a little bit dishonest, but I've played this game and it's friggin' hard, so yeah, I'm gonna exploit the slightly open-ended character class generation. Do that. See, look, already it's like, what, 2 times more difficult now instead of 3 times? That was easy. What else? Forbidden. Yeah, I could go with some forbidden rubbish armor or something. Forbidden armor. Let's just say I have a this character class has a leather intolerance, some sort of skin allergy to leather, so I can't wear it. That doesn't seem to have done much. And shield types. Am I ever going to use the smallest shield in the game? Probably not. Again, it's not having much impact, but let's see. Low tolerance to frost? Nah. See, they have at least managed to program in to make sure you can't just get 2 of the same thing. Stop there for a minute and go back to the skills. So I think a really good skill to have is running, not necessarily for what it does, but just like any game, you tend to run everywhere, so using it all the time, it tends to level up really quickly. And if I have it as a major skill, it's going to really allow me to level up quite quickly. It's quite good to run fast as well. What else? Probably have restoration magic. Healing is quite good. So that means for the main skill that I was saving for magic, I will probably have destruction. Again, I primarily want this character to be able to defend themselves quite well. Minor ones, I think I'll go a bit more. What do you call it? A little bit more adventurous on this and pick something a bit more left of field, like mercantile for bartering and so on. get the price of all that gear down. And what else? Swimming might be handy. There's certainly sometimes there's sections of dungeon that can't be reached without swimming. I'm going to ignore the languages because this was a really ambitious game, and they put all these extra skills in thinking that they were going to have time to really flesh them out, but in reality you can't read all these language skills for different monsters. You can't really talk to them. The best you can do is essentially try to speak to them, and if they're attacking you, there's a small chance based on your language skill that they'll just pacify and just not attack you, but there's no dialogue options or anything like that. It's just not what it is. It's quite odd that there's no music in this character creation thing, by the way, but I suppose, at least unlike the previous recording, you can actually hear me and I'm not just muffling in the background. Well, I am doing my usual mumble, of course. That's just the way I speak. Let's see. Etiquette. Well, let's get some different magic in there, I think. Some of these are going to be useful for later on when I get to levitate and other spells like that as soon as I can afford them. And I probably should go the whole hog, really, get them all. Okay, I think that's all the magic skills acquired. So that just leaves the thievery skills, the language skills, a couple of movement skills like climbing and I suppose dodging, I suppose. Although I'm not sure how that's going to work with heavy armor. Medical just helps to heal, I think. I don't think there's many opportunities in game to use that as a character option for like quests and stuff like that. Possibly is, I'm not sure. But it could get modded actually, because there is quite an active modding scene. I might go with maybe I should go with medical or jumping. Let's go with jumping. Okay, so that's not too bad. It's mostly magic, a few combat ones in there. Not really much else, but those can all be leveled up eventually anyway. I probably want to keep all this flat, to be honest, because this is intended as a quite well-rounded character class. Oh, is this going to affect the skill advancement if I pump this up? Yeah, of course it is. Oh, that would be very nice to have more hit points, but as you can see, it's making it significantly more difficult to level up. Let's have a look at more disadvantages. Forbidden material, that might be an idea. There's no dwarves in Daggerfall, but maybe the character just dislikes their craftsmanship. Yeah, let's... I really don't think that's made a damn difference. And I think... Oh wait. I forgot where the button was then. Forbidden weaponry, that's an option. I could say that my character can't use... what would it be? That's all quite good. I mean, I'm not sure if I just suddenly find the best weapon in the world that happens to be an axe, even though I'm not trained in it, I'd be tempted to pick it up and use it. Low tolerance to... Oh, maybe I should just pick an actual weakness. Low tolerance to disease. It'd be quite nice to balance it up. Obviously, it isn't going to be nice if I suddenly get bitten by a plague-ridden rat. And damage, what's this? From sunlight. I don't think that's going to be a good idea. Okay, maybe I'm just going to have to accept it's going to be twice as hard to level up. 10 8 point. I think that's 2 more than what I gave it originally. So, any reputation. So this is quite nice to be able to start out with a basically like you change your starting reputation with groups of characters. So if I accept that my character's quite magey, so maybe he has been fairly well schooled, and so the scholars might like him a bit more. But then, as an offshoot of that, maybe peasants are slightly less likely to trust him. And let's say he's quite a goody two-shoes, and the underworld might have a slight dislike of him as well. Yeah, let's try that. Just to add a bit of flavour. Okay, class name. I'll call it a war mage, I suppose. I mean, there's battle mage already, but so this is basically a cheap version of that. Though hopefully a lot better with the spell absorption, significantly more spell points, and the rapid healing. That's going to be it's going to really keep my health bar and the magicka topped up nicely. I guess it's exit to complete it, although it doesn't quite seem right. What does the help say? Okay. What it says about the disadvantages. Maximum of 7. I think I picked about 5. Daggerfall manual. I do. Perhaps I have that somewhere, but it's going to be 20 odd years old. Probably at my parents' house. Okay. I quite like the 12 important career decisions thing, so I'll go with that. Okay. So this will just slightly adjust some of the skills. After destruction, what skill have I been studying the second longest? Now, I definitely went with the restoration, but I suppose I could bump one of these others up. Let's try. I like the idea of having the illusion a bit higher. What motivates you? I'm going to say knowledge, based on what I did with the scholars thing, and that possibly is going to enhance it even more. You spent your time maybe economics, that would fit in with the mercantile skill and might even boost it slightly. Now that would be quite handy, knowing that I can't wear leather armour. That would really get me through that first dungeon, and I assume this isn't going to be leather body armour. Curious, I'm not sure if that implies metal, but let's go with that. If it's leather, I can always sell it later, though probably not for 200 gold. Okay, I've got to go with the ebony dagger. I'm trained with daggers, and that is going to really help me early on in the game when I run into things that can't be harmed by iron or steel, which is what 99% of the weapons I come across initially, until I get to a much higher level, are going to be made of. As you grow older, you receive additional magic training in. Let's try a different one. Alteration. I guess that's buffing stats, boosting stats, and something like that. That might be quite a nice one. Okay, and I spent free time training with. Do I put the long blade up? I like the idea of having the short blade a little bit more equal to the long blade. So let's try that. This isn't really going to matter because I didn't pick any language skills, and as I said, it hasn't really been implemented properly in the game. But I do know that there is a mod called the Archaeologist Guild or something of that nature, and that apparently that's just been recently done, and it's in alpha or whatever. But it adds a whole suite of quests which really use the language skills for like translating and so on like that. So pretty much for the first time ever, possibly a little bit like what the original devs envisioned when they added those in the first place. Right, I'm waffling a bit, so I'm going to go with I think I went with this last time. I just know that there's a lot of Daedra later on. If maybe there's a 1 in 1,000 chance I can stop one of them attacking me, it might be worth it, because they are powerful. Okay, you have the most personal hatred for. Now I know I put the peasants as having a lower reputation, and I guess the underworld, which would be these guys, but I certainly don't like the idea of the character disliking peasants, because that would be a bit sociopathic. Let's go with Sanctimonious Priests. Your intimate friends. Does that mean close friends, or does that imply... I think that implies romantic, which is interesting. Let's say not an assassin. Go on, a warrior. I've not really done much of the fighting thing. So probably God. I think the God of Logic might be a good one for someone who's sort of trained in magic and scholarly. That makes sense. And that is the one that's named after the lead programmer of the game as well, which is always nice. You have the most trouble fighting without magic. What does that mean? Let's go with the poison. Oh, okay, so nothing affected my reputations other than what I already set in the class. Name thyself. Random. Okay, when I find a good name. Could be here a while. Nah. Harold. It's got to be one I can remember. Soric. Jurgic. I think that's similar to what I had last time. Let's go with that. And is it cheap to go with the same face? It's like repeating deja vu. Let's go with him. Okay. I have no idea that's a good roll. So now everything starts on 50, so I don't know if there's a way to show what the total points is. Okay, so that looks like an average of 57 roughly, maybe 56. And there's quite a lot of points there, so I'll save that one. Hard to say, that's more volatile, the scores are more scattered. Oh, that's rubbish. I'll save that but re-roll. Idea of getting everything I need initially to 60, so that'll be my goal. Yeah, it's okay if some things aren't that great. I'm not sure, maybe I should invest more in intelligence, but I've got so many spell points it probably isn't going to matter too much. Okay, and for this, let's invest a bit more in the short blade. Point in restoration. These others, happy to just yeah. Let's put the. I think early on I'm going to need to bargain to get some good deals while I'm poor, and put 1 point in long blade to get that critical strike. I do like the idea of that being high because that's going to be beneficial for short blade and long blade. And destruction, I can get that up in time, so to speak. I'll go with average reflexes. That's what I went with last time, and I seem to just about manage it. Okay, summary. So we got a guy who's, I guess this class should have really been called slightly above average, because that's what it pretty much is in everything. You know, it's got decent at magic, even though they're not really in the primary skills. It's got some combat in the primary skills. It's got a few athletic skills thrown in, running and jumping. Then the other magic skills are very low, and this and that. So yeah, I think I'm quite happy with that. Certainly more confident with this character than I was the last one. This is when I find out if the sign works.
400 years after Tiber Saturn's reign, the beginning will meet the end, and the bloody circle will close in the empire of Tamriel. Then worthy heirs of the second dynasty have allowed the pawns of the empire to weaken and wreck. Uriel Septim VII cannot repair what his ancestors ignored. The provinces fight among themselves like neglected children, drunk with rebellion, and one indomitable power hides itself, but not forever.
FMV moment.
Excuse the gloom, but none may know of this meeting. The nature of my trouble is darker still. Over a year ago, King Lysandus of Daggerfall died honorably on the field of battle. He was as loyal a subject, ally, and friend as you are. I did grieve for him, but his spirit does not rest. With a spectral army, he haunts his former kingdom, crying for revenge. I do not know why a good and loyal man would be so cursed. Perhaps you can find the answer and close the marble jaws of oblivion, bringing peace to his soul. I ask this as your emperor and your friend. I have one lesser request. Several years ago, I wrote a letter to the Queen of Daggerfall. It never arrived. The letter was of a sentimental and personal nature. If you find and destroy that letter, I will be grateful.
Ooh. Alarm bells should be ringing now when someone asks you to do that.
Rest well this night, for tomorrow you sail for the kingdom of Daggerfall.
So dramatic. Ooh. Okay, so this is a mod that I enabled. I've never used this mod before. Let us enable wilderness encounters, even though it will probably be the death of me. Ruin encounters. I wonder if that's going to happen in here. That would be bad timing, but yeah, let's enable it. Labyrinth encounters, yes. Keeps. Yes. Graveyard encounters. Well, why else would it be at a graveyard other than to fight some undead and stuff? Possibly mourn people, but apart from that. Cities. Ah, that's quite cool. Contests will be held. I like the idea of that. Okay, now this is the actual game. You wake and look around the room. Some hours ago you were in a boat en route to Daggerfall when a storm of supernatural strength boiled over the Iliac Bay Like a malefic creature, your boat was destroyed, but you managed to swim through the churning water to a promontory rock, though you found a cave and escaped the fury of the storm. You had only just lit a small fire when a mudslide sealed you within. Your fear of being buried alive calmed when you saw the corridor leading out of the cavern. Perhaps there is a way out of this cave after all. Once free of the cave, you can begin the Emperor's quest. Let's do this. Don't want the tutorial. You feel as if the wilderness has more life than usual. This is very interesting. These are all the mods again. I guess it's just indicating that it's been enabled. Yeah, they all seem to match one-to-one with all the yes boxes that I said. This one's obviously about the graveyard. Yeah, cool. Right, and I do like the slightly souped-up graphics. Nice bit of proper lighting there, and the fire effect's quite nice as well. Okay, right, let's see what we got as I can remember what inventory is. Let's go to the controls again. Inventory F6. I knew it was something like that. Oh, okay, alright, so I do have an Iron Cuirass, which is nice. Get my armour up to 7 straight away. The Ebony Dagger, I think I'll equip that. Nothing else, I'm quite surprised. Spellbook, it's nice. Ooh, torches. I think I need to... This is going to go out, but I should have a light source now, that's nice. Scare the ghosts away with a little illumination. And I'll tell you what, a save game would be quite nice as well. I'm just going to call this 1. And I definitely don't have any auto saves enabled, so I need to remember to keep on top of that. Otherwise I'm in trouble. That was nice and easy, I like that. Oh, look at that, 54 gold. Straight away. I did get slightly injured by that rat, but look, if you ever look very closely, you might just see the green health bar ever so slowly rising. And that is essentially cheating the game, but it's perfectly legal to do. I am going to be a bit more on top of the saves until we get out of here. Okay, I've not got much in the way of spells, but I can cast a lot of these, or relative to my level, thanks to me having 100 and odd hit points. Come on. It'd be interesting to see if the critical strike pops up. Oh no, there's an imp in there, so I'm going to avoid that. He's always in there. That's one light they haven't upgraded yet. Oh, that imp sounds close. The good thing is I've got spell absorption, so I might actually not get killed when it casts its first spell on me. Come on. So this character is significantly better than the previous one at hitting things. I think that probably is because my agility is higher, because I think I still had Shortbread as a... Ooh, she got me good. Let's chameleon it up. And let's shock her. Not a great start. Let's do this a bit quicker this time. Whoa! Run. Yeah, the enemies can fight each other now, which has never been the case before. Kill the bat. must be able to handle this thief now with just famous last words. Let's ooh, I wonder if I could sneak up. No. Could actually just carve me up like a blooming cake. And I did shock her last time. Maybe it'll work again before she can kill me. Not sure if that did anything, but okay. Cannot wear any of this. I might be able to wear that. Oh, I'm sorry, but that is not a leather helmet. Am I wrong? Can you get gold-looking leather? I don't know. Maybe it's just painted yellow. Okay. It's quite light, so maybe I can sell that. Might be worth carrying. Oh, gold. That's the only problem. This game is quite harsh when it comes to long resting. Here goes nothing. I think there's a guy in here. Yep. Ah, look at that. I spoke too soon about this being easier than the previous runs. It wouldn't be too bad if I had a healing potion or a... I suppose I could just wait here on the steps, but that's not going to be very interesting, is it? I'll wait here for a minute just while I check to see if the stream's still good. Okay. Get Chameleon ready. This is obviously going to reduce how easy I am to hit, though not nearly enough. Whew. Okay, that's good. Okay, my Curious is slightly better. I've got some greaves now. Again, another helmet which is clearly not leather. Why don't they just make it that colour? Could have used the same sprite and just shaded it, I'm not sure. Ooh, unicorn horn. 200 gold! Wow. Yep, I'll take that. That's going to be quite sellable. I'm going to save again. I'll save over the old save. And I may try and rest in here. No. No, that's the wrong way. I think this leads to a staircase. I was hoping I was going to get to rest. I might just run to the exit. Okay, bat. Try and run and avoid him. Maybe they'll fight each other. Oh, brilliant. You know what? While they're distracted, I'm getting out. Oh, silly me thinking a bat can't fly. Never seen a skeleton fly though. I'm tempted to see what's in here, but I know that's not the exit. Whoa. I love the fact that they can fight each other now, it's brilliant. Let the dungeon wipe itself out. I'm pretty sure this is the exit. And if I'm right, then it's probably an imp beating up some rats in there. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna kill the imp. Oh! I nearly paid for that. With my life. But then I wouldn't have some lich dust. Which, wow, is even worth more than the unicorn horn. It's been, I don't know, you know what, I think this could be because I normally dump luck because it's never really apparent what it does, but I think what it does have a hand in is the value of what you randomly find. Which, to be honest, that would be, I mean, to play D&D, that would be quite a nice mechanic to have if there was a luck stat in D&D, really, just to increase the random loot chances. Whoa, I was not expecting to be attacked by naked ladies as soon as I stepped out of the dungeon. And I think they're quite powerful as well. They are nymphs, and yeah. I've got a feeling this stream might get censored now. I got away. I know that was one of the languages actually, but not one I picked. Yep, there's enemies nearby. Oh, the good thing is, while I'm running away, my health is slowly ebbing up slightly. Or is it? Almost looked like it dropped now. No, that went up. Oh, come on, dude. They're miles away. At least 50 meters, I'd say. Ooh, a little bit of loading there. So, may as well yak a bit more. So the part of the upgrade with one of the mods with Unity Daggerfall is that the height maps used to be really shallow. They didn't used to go very high. Where they've really increased the depth, and presumably they've increased the poly count of the landscape. It just makes it look more realistic than it did. Really, you know, you've got massive rolling hills, and to think you've got like the size of Great Britain in this game of this type of landscape, as repetitive as it might get, but there are, you know, you got billboard trees like that seem to stick out the ground, but that's just the price of having a game developed in 1996, really. And I know people are working on mods to replace all the trees with 3D models. I think there's one in actually that you can get, but if you can imagine the amount of trees here, I believe the way the mod works currently is that it pretty much replaces all of them just with the not super high model, but you know, even if it's a low poly tree, say 300 polygons, which is very low these days, I can see hundreds of trees there, so that's going to rack up quite quickly. There's probably, you know, maybe even be more than hundreds, I'm not sure. Okay, I think I can rest. And there's a centaur. But I do have full health, so I'm quite confident I'm going to whoop him. Is that a... all these leather, not leather helmets. Well, I'll be laughing later when I'm decked from head to toe in Daedric armor. Or Daedric, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Ooh, this is interesting. A knight appears from out east and waves you down. Hey, I'm looking for an outlaw around this area, a cat burglar, who's been causing chaos in the nearby villages. His name is... Not knowing the man in question, you shake your head. Very well. May Arcade bless you. Whoa, he walled me now. Is this the bandit, maybe? Oh. You step on a branch, creating a large snap that echoes throughout the air. Huh, who's that? Oh, shit. Shoot, rather. And it's very nice that while this fight's going on, I quickly get to attach all this armour and so on. Not quite so realistic, but okay. So I'm a little bit injured. There's at least one of them, probably more. Whoa! I cannot take them on. I'm gonna chameleon. I did think that was going to make me harder to hit, but it's just not. You know, I appreciate these random quests that I've enabled, but man, I wish they'd be enabled when I get to level 2. What's fast travel? I think it's V? Yeah. I need to keep an eye on the time, probably not going to stream for much longer. I hope the volume's been better this time around. It was quite disheartening to know that I was just muffling with the sound absolutely blasting over the top of my voice. And plus it was 20 seconds delayed as well for some reason. Actually, I have an idea what that was, and I think I may have fixed it, but time will tell. Okay, so thank God I found the fast travel. So we'll probably want to try to, and I think the lighter a town is, the bigger it is. I went to Stockworth last time. I think rather than going to a massive place, I'll go to... Actually, where am I? Okay, maybe if I go to that manor, that doesn't sound too bad. Eastbridge looks a lighter dot than the place I went to last. 5 hours isn't too long. Let's go there. Yep. I like this fast travel now, which has changed. Rather than just being instantaneous, you get a sense of the map, even though I can scale it up to 75 times speed. And there are random encounters along the way. Another random encounter? Let's have a look. Oh! I guess that was just to potentially avoid the encounter, because I said proceed with caution. It let me have a chance of skipping it. I think I've read that it's based on Streetwise, but I'm not 100% sure. Not Streetwise, stealth skill. Redone character portraits as well here. You wouldn't necessarily think it, but yeah, they all kind of look like that. You can just about see one of the original ones there. It looks like a. I remember reading a magazine describing it as like a carpet, like a patterned carpet. You know, it's kind of all in blocks, pixelated basically. But oh, that's interesting. It looks like some of the frames are blocky. They've been remastered, some of the frames. Someone's upscaled it and smoothed it out, added a bit of detail, but haven't done it for all the frames. Whereas he's just a single frame. He's been improved. Some of the others haven't. She has, obviously. Right, I'm going to save because there's a chance some of these people will start picking fights and who knows what with this modded version. That doesn't sound too good. But I did say the peasants probably don't like me very much because my character's a bit stuck up. But don't worry, I'm going to gradually improve my rep, I'm sure. Yeah, they really hate me. Okay, I'm just going to get room for now. Just for one day. And he likes me, I guess, because he's classed as a merchant. Let's see if there's any work around here. Crimson Furry, I'm not sure what that is. The Unfortunate Castle. Don't know what that is. Totem woodchuck. Okay, so I'll try and make a mental note of those. Try and find a room that's not occupied and easy enough to get into. What on earth am I even going to look? This is more like it. I haven't leveled up. Oops. Sorry, one of my monitors just decided to turn off. It's on power saving mode. Whoops. Oh, there we go, daytime. Okie doke. I do like those shadows. Cast by a giant tree. It's interesting actually because they've obviously had to pick. You know, the tree is flat, but they've had to pick the angle where it's cast. Even though when I'm looking at the tree, it moves around. I mean, in theory, if what I was seeing was actually physical, then the shadow would be changing as I moved around, but they've kind of picked a position and stood with it. Let's try and find some directions. General stores. Don't know. That may have been one of the places. Oh, there you go. He's marked it on the map. That's nice. He seems to like me, this guy, for some reason. The Unfortunate Castle was definitely one of the places, and he's just marked it. That's good. And the Crimson Furry. What did he say then? I likes doing you favours. Now I don't really know how the code works, but I've got a feeling that even though my reputation is a bit low with commoners, that every time you meet a commoner, there's probably a random die roll that goes on, and that lower reputation is the average, but there's a chance you might get a higher result. Right, okay, so I should have some places on the map. I'm pretty sure the Totem Woodchuck was where I just came from. That's probably not the best place to go. Let's go to this thing. So, okay, so it's in the opposite direction of where I am. Yeah, I remember when I first played this game, when I first left that horrible dungeon at the start, I went to a small town, smaller than this I think, and I just picked up a couple of nice little quests. I remember knowing very little about the game other than what was on the box, and you know, it blew my mind really. Just you have to remember that this was a time when this was like 96, 97, and all you had was you know, Quake, I think had just come out, or was about to come out, and you had Doom, stuff like that really. Anything that was first person generally didn't have any story whatsoever, and certainly no detail, and then all of a sudden this game came along, and again this was before World of Warcraft, before all the MMOs and so on, and it had those MMO elements, but it was just great to think, wow, you can go anywhere in this gigantic world, rest anywhere, pick up anything that you can pick up. You can buy property. You can you know, upgrade your armor and all this stuff, and there's all this different type of armor and all this detail it goes into, and the weight of it, carrying it by a horse, by a cart to, you know, keep the weight off and so on. There's clothing shops you can go to and change what you wear, change how you look, and when you compare that to everything else that was first person, and there were a few decent RPGs. Okay, oh, this is interesting. I'm in love with this person. Alas, she refuses to marry. Same-sex relationships. That's quite cool. You know, again, ahead of its time, but this is probably a redone. This is probably a modded quest, so it's probably done recently. Okay, she refuses to marry unless I prove my worthiness by answering a riddle her mentor left behind when he vanished. I need you to find him and find the answer to his riddle. Okay. Definitely. Okay, so I need to find this guy. It's interesting. This does seem oddly familiar, this, and it could be I done this quest 20 years ago, but I'm not sure. Okay. Take these flowers, they're favourites. Masterton Hall. I hope that isn't a dungeon. Okay, I quite like that quest. It's not go here and beat this up. Ooh. Use? Oh, there we go. Speak not of love or hate, but tell me this, what gift can you give to me that I can never buy for myself? I mean, this could be a number of things. The riddle seems familiar. Is it dependence? Can never buy for myself. Coffin? Yeah. Interesting. Hopefully that's in my journal. Wherever the journal button is. Logbook. Masterston Hall. Yeah, I'm definitely going to go to this armour while it's close, sell a bit of stuff, get some shoes, because no one wants to be walking around in this barefoot. Yeah, I think as I'm a programmer, I'd love to do a mod for this game. I think a nice easy one would be taking cold damage if it's snowing and you're not wearing anything on your feet. I call it the cold feet mod. It's always the left side you look. Those loading screens would be kind of cool, but because it loads so quick, it just looks like you've had a brief flash of a nightmare. I get the feeling that some of these have been added and weren't in the original game. But that's pretty cool. Okay. Ooh, another bit of artwork there. Very nice. I wonder. I mean, I've never played Elder Scrolls Online, but I don't know if some of these locations are from like concept art or something, which would be kind of cool. I thought she must. You know, that just shows my bias there, because I thought the guy would be the shop owner. Oh, No one's the shop owner. Is this just someone's house? Have I gone in the wrong building? Might explain why there's just not portraits, but artwork on the wall. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I have just walked into someone's house, haven't I? Yep. Silly me. Well, it was nice of them to let me in. What time is it? Rest, loiter for 3 hours? Let me sell my junk. Okay, I can use shields, and that is going to be very nice. Let's go with that. Tower shield. Eh? I'm pretty sure I didn't. What? I only picked bucklers. Oh. I've just realised I made a big mistake. So I picked the smallest shield to say I cannot use this shield. The class system interpreted that as me saying I can't use this shield or any shield that's better than this shield. Oh god, and I picked dwarven material as well. I hope that doesn't work in the same way. I'm using a dagger actually, so that definitely isn't the case. But yeah, they have. I'm just gonna have to never use a shield. This guy has nothing. Is that it? Terrible. Yeah, that's just one big shelf. So we'll see, maybe he's got another shelf around here somewhere. No, I think that's his private stuff. Okay, this is what you get for travelling to the back and beyond. Quickly see if that's a general store, and then I know it's not going to do anything, but I just feel more comfortable knowing that my guy has some shoes on his feet. Although I don't think I'm going to get it from here. This is clearly a apothecary, but he may like some expensive ingredients. Yeah. So the problem is that my skills of bargaining aren't quite up there yet, so I'm not getting what I should be getting. Okay, I'm going to very quickly hightail it north to that shop. And that is the last shop in this quite poky little town. But it does have its own graveyard. I'm interested to know if, even though this is a graveyard in a town as opposed to one of the ones which are outside, effectively dungeons, I wonder if that can have the random graveyard encounters. I mean, I'm getting all this armour, and it may just be a complete waste of time, because if this request really is just travelling somewhere, asking someone the answer to a riddle, handing them some flowers, then giving it, me coming back, giving the riddle back, the riddle answer back, then you could say that that maybe doesn't require a ton of steel and whatnot. I think I really should be starting to get better at recognising what is an actual shop and what's just a house. Oh, this is more like it. No shoes or armour. Fancy armbands. Fancy that! Oh, I like that. It's good because it covers the fact that I've got non-matching armour as well. Let's buy that for 8 gold. I can't really argue with that. Shoes! Champion straps. Look at that. Is that something Freddie Mercury would wear? Like a stage outfit or something. Okay, I don't need a long bow. Buy the shoes. I'll keep the book. Might need something to read if I get stuck in a dungeon. What was the name of it? It was a home, I guess. Masterston. Masterston. Let's call it Court, don't want that. Seven hours. Don't be dungeon, don't be dungeon, don't be dungeon, don't be dungeon. Whoa, I've not got resistance to paralysis. And more banditos, so I'm gonna peg it. Can I save? Yes. It's interesting, I do get the jittery slowdowns even though my PC should be killing this, but could be because I'm streaming as well. Definitely time to hit the sack after this. As soon as I reach Masterston. Problem is I'm probably going to collapse from the lack of stamina first. Am I here? Looks like it. Well, I'm pleased to report this is not a dungeon. If it is, it's a very well disguised one. But there's no one to ask for directions. One day. think I can just rest here and it should teleport me to the room. Oh, isn't that a nice note to end on? Lovely note. Okay, nice bit of hit points added as well. What's looking rubbish? Oh yeah, I'm going to get these both up. So what I was saying earlier on the character creation, that running always seems to go up, it just proved me right again then, because it's just increased once more. No, it's still 9. Okay, I think... Oh, it's interesting, I seem to have switched rooms. I guess this is just like a... Oh, this does look like a big hostel, doesn't it? Like a dormitory type. Oh no, is it the same room? I think I was just not looking at the same angle. Right, I'm waffling a bit, so this has been, in a way, a bit more satisfying than picking the prefab sword mage class. I think this is much better. Okay, so I'm going to end it there. So let's do a save game. Escape. Exit. So yeah, I suppose I should say, anyone who wants Daggerfall Unity, just Google it. There's a web page. You need to get the original game first, and there's instructions on where to get that from. There's different options, but the main one is the fact that it's free from Bethesda. They released it as freeware a while back, and once you've installed that, which is dead quick, then you install the Unity. And basically what the Unity is doing, somehow, I'm a programmer, but I don't quite understand how this works, but it's somehow modding into the old code and streaming the assets from it. Well, it's not using the old code. I think the code itself is in Unity, but it's just taking all the quests and all the assets and all the file formats and so on, all the random seeded dungeons and towns and everything, and just running that within the Unity engine, which is why it's smoother than the original DOS version would have been in '97. But yeah, it's an interesting game, and it's interesting to see, even if this is kind of before your time. I think it would be interesting to see where the Elder Scrolls series came from, because all the features that you see, or that you tend to see in the later games, are all in this game. The fact that there's vampirism, lycanthropy that you can get, all started in this. The fact that you can own property started in this, and lots of other features like that I can't even think of now. Just even as you saw before, just getting the cloaks and so on, like clothing and so on, customizing the character. It was all. This was the original genesis for that. Perhaps Arena before it as well, but this was really truly the first open version of that RPG system. And then it's really just been improved on and graphically since then, really, and streamlined a bit. Although a lot of people feel that it's been dumbed down a little bit with the reduction in the skills and stuff like that. I'll allow you to draw your own conclusion for that. I think this is a dated game, but it's nice to see it with a fresh lick of paint. It'll be interesting to see. Now this is out, and more people presumably are going to start playing it now that it should drive the modding community to keep improving it, and who knows where it's going to go. So yeah, I strongly recommend you give it a whirl yourself, because as I said, everything's completely free. You don't need to pay a penny, and yeah, you might just find it interesting. And to be honest, your game is probably going to be different than most people's, just because it's so randomized. You never know what quest you're going to get, stuff like that. So yeah, in all, I highly recommend this, and it's been fun and nostalgic for me. I'll keep playing this character, and I'll see where he can get to. Thank you.
problem is that my skills of bargaining aren't quite up there yet, so I'm not getting what I should be getting. Okay, I'm going to very quickly tail it north to that shop. And that is the last shop in this quite poky little town. It does have its own graveyard. Now, I'm interested to know if, even though this is a graveyard in a town, one of the ones which are outside effectively dungeons, I wonder if that can have the random graveyard encounters. I mean, I'm getting all this armour, and it may just be a complete waste of time, because if this quest really is just travelling somewhere, asking someone the answer to a riddle, handing them some flowers, then giving it, me coming back, giving the riddle back, the riddle answer back, then you could say that maybe doesn't require a ton of steel and whatnot. I think I really should be starting to get better at recognising what is an actual shop and what's just a house. Well, this is more like it. No shoes or armour. Fancy armbands. Fancy that.